All right,
I'll snooze it.
let me see. Genesis, well, Yehiki. I won't give it so much time in Navajo because it's quite lengthy. Genesis chapter 29. And forgive me, I spent some time with my mom, and I'm not, every Sunday I feel like that no matter what. I feel like I didn't really prepare. So Genesis chapter 29, I'll just read up to 20. The next Nila Jacob Rachel Adoliah Beke Laban Yanash Nish Ado Jacob Dahnadi Zagoha Abiyad the neck Kedahat Inigi Bekeyat the Genia Oko Haji Gadent Jo Okon Halkeki Tohan Kahatle Bigakit Ka got the better Denel Kago Shije to Kahatlehiki Nda Atlehla Akotse Ayo and Toko Toka Hatle Betaten verse 3 Akwe Toka Hatle Sabetaten Ani Nako and Dish Masko Akwi the bet Atro Akanan Kaigi Nda Atli Arot set Asa Yej and Dish Masla verse 4 Akko Jacob Akasne Shik Iso Hade Shadate Akko Adane Heron de Adate Akko Anabisdo need that Nihish Nehor Ben Nalib Laban well ye Beda Honosen Akko Akwadin need O Beda Honilzen that Yat Ekosh Kehat Akko Atadin need O Yat Eko Kehat Ejun Ade but sit Rachel Anosh Kash Akko Asdin need Akko Akola Ati Nizaz Ani the Akhantatanol Kashkut Ato Bahol Jista Tepe the Otnago in the Nlako Pindi the Alchosto Akko Atadini to that Alko Akhantanil Kako in that Saed Tohatle Betaten Aniki Nako and Tail Masko in that the Be in the Atli Akot Ati Yajal Cheko Rachel Hajeb Bilni Jins Card Hala A National Card Okotzago Jacob Hama Benai Laban but Rachel Ado Hama Benai Laban Bilni Jilsago Bajnia Akot Jacob A Sahiki Tohatle Betaten Ani Nako a Yishmaz go Hama Benai Laban Bilni da Otla Ado Jacob A Rachel Yes Osko Yitsha Koniko Rachel Bish Hojor Net Nijet Esha Daet Rebecca Biyaj and Shle Ako Ado Rachel Dashkil would go Haje Bish Hojor Net Akot Zago Laban Hadeje Biyaj Jacob Niyaha Nego Jitis Zago Okon Betachel would Ado Zejil Cheko Jis Osnta Hagan go Bishinchit Aj Akon Dite Askobe Laban Bisnahojisne Echo Laban Akodini A nation and Ado should easten Lela Akot A Quep Baskets Dago Satin days that Ado Laban A Jacob Ayedini that Dosh should die in Liniki Ban Tani Kesh Shannon Nisto should hold the Quisha Beke Nan Nisto Uncle Laban Apet sit na kit a large Liniki Leah will get a Kede Iki A Rachel will get Leah A Hat Den Jordan the Rachel A you see yo Northern and Ado Batzolne a co Jacob A Rachel a yo Nico and then say Rachel McKede na Rahiki to sit but then Nanash Nisto verse 19 a Laban and Neko 8 a Conehe Nan Steto the ne Nana Sa Edo da a Kot a Ko Nanana a Co Jacob A Rachel Beke Bek Angel Nisko trust at Nake ako ayojo nigo bata di kuye yiskahwal na hallen. Nila. I'll read it up to there. In the last time we met, we had we talked about Jacob went to sleep at a certain place, and he had this dream about the angels of heaven. They were going back and forth between heaven and earth, and he said, "Wow, what is this place?" The only place where I have that effect is in Zion National Park in southern Utah. What is this place? Because the only place to look is up, because those cliffs are, and if you get on the shuttle bus, the windows are not on the side, they're up. So, what is this place? If you ever seen the movie Rocky 3, remember Clubber Lang? He knocks out Rocky, and Rocky goes into deep depression, and his mentor dies, and everything just falls apart, and he's trying to train, but it's just not happening. Finally, his wife takes him aside on the beach, and he gives him that speech. What's the truth? I'm not going to finish it. That, in that sense, is the speech that we're left with when God is when he was shown that dream of the angels. What is this place? Rocky best, but it's up in laws of it, which told this. And he said, "How did you get so tough?" He says, "I live with a fighter." And things change from there. So the same thing happens to Jacob. Before this time, if you notice that Jacob was an indoor man. He rather hang around the kitchen. Nothing wrong with the kitchen. And I'm going to say possibly he knew how to knit. He was an indoor man. And Esau on the outside was an outdoor guy. Now things are going to change with Jacob. Verse 1, so Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east. I just imagine the theme song, the Eye of the Tiger, because in the Hebrew, here's how it reads. Jacob went on his journey. In the Hebrew, that means he is lighthearted. He is going like this. He is like, I flew a couple times, and if you go east, you got the tailwind behind you, and you get to go to New York City like 10 minutes before scheduled landing. So, but if you're going west, then the wind is coming at you, so you end up landing in Los Angeles airport a little bit late. So here the picture is Jacob has the tailwind behind him. So Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east, and he looked and saw a well in the field, and behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks. A large stone was on the well's mouth. Here in Navajo land, if you ever go to the springs or and there's a cistern that sits right close by, and there's a huge concrete block that covers. That's the only thing that I can picture. I think when I was 16 years old, I challenged myself to pick one up, and I did. I can't do it anymore. So, I don't know what the cultural, what it looked like back then. They covered the well where the sheep drinks, and I am thinking there's hundreds of sheep and goats that need to drink. So how big of a well this is, an opening it is, I don't know. Maybe they opened it and then they used a bucket to fill the water troughs. I really don't know. Verse 3, now all the flocks would be gathered there, and they would roll the stone from the well's mouth, water the sheep, and put the stone back in its place on the well's mouth. There's a lot of cultural things that is lost to me. Sabanito, that rock that's coming out by the highway by 264, right at the, there's a spring that's right underneath, right there by the highway. It means Sabanito. I think that's the name where Sabanito, we say Sabanito, which doesn't mean anything, but the neck at your eight Sabanito, that's what the Nia. So, and Jacob said to them, my brethren, where are you from? And they said, we are from Haran, which is the northernmost city in what's called the Fertile Crescent. Then he said to them, do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, we know him. The significance of Laban's father, Bethuel, for some reason he is left out. Bethuel, for some reason he is left out. Maybe he was gone and Nahor still alive. I really don't know. Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said to him, we know him. And they said to him, he is well. And they said, he is well. And look, his daughter Rachel is coming with the sheep. This tells us two things about Laban. He's stingy or he's poor. Later on, we're going to find out he is both. He's stingy and he is not well-to-do. Yes?
If you remember right back, I'm not sure if it was 26 or something like that, when Rebecca was picked up, Nahor was kind of running the house.
Yes. Yep.
And that was Rebecca's brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Abraham's brother. Yeah. So, I understand that being a shepherd in that time, it was left to the boys, and it was left to slave people. If you could afford a slave, they did the sheep herding. But if you didn't have a slave, if you had sons, and then you left the sheep herding to them. But neither one of these applied to Laban. Then he said, look, it is still high day. It is not time for the cattle to be gathered together. Water the sheep and go and feed them. I really don't know how this works in the ancient Near East. He said the cattle and the sheep, they didn't mix. I know as a child, for me, when I really didn't do any sheep herding, but my older brothers did. I just kind of tagged along, and you know how little brothers are, they just kind of play out to the side. And aro kocho na boko akoya ndani akoya the bend at least they went straight for the water, and then later on they went to the grass, and then they kind of laid down and just took their time, and they chewed the cud. So I really don't know what's going on here. From the time when my older siblings, when they herded sheep, and I'm trying to connect it with what's happening here. And they said, we cannot until all the flocks are gathered together and they have rolled a stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. Now while he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. And it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. I understand this particular rock took several men to roll, but I can't help but think this is a Samson moment. And this is like almost like the Incredible Hulk moment where, remember, Jacob is an indoor guy before this time. When he came and he saw Rachel, somehow he possessed that strength to lift that rock and roll it away. And then Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebekah's son. So she ran and told her father. Again, this is if you ever read the book of Mark, the book of Mark is a book of action. Immediately, this happened. Immediately, that happened. So this is what's going on here. Rachel, she ran with the tailwind behind her, and she ran. Then it came to pass when Laban heard the report about Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. So he told Laban all these things. Laban is one of those guys that we're going to find out his character, that he does things. He expects something in return. Something has to be in it for him to do something. He's not doing things out of his own heart, and because in his experience, when the first caravan that came from Abraham, it came with riches. It came with bracelets and this and that and money. And I'm thinking he's expecting the same thing when her sister was brought back to Isaac. Okay, he's expecting the same thing, but he's going to be disappointed. And Laban said to him, "Surely you are bone, you are my bone and my flesh." And he stayed for him with one month, with him for a month. What are the rules of hospitality? You can afford to have somebody stay with you for 3 days. After that, they got to start washing the dishes, right? They got to start mowing the lawn and whatever, clean the windows. Then Laban said to Jacob, "Because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be?" Apparently, Laban is astute enough to know that Jacob had the blessings of God, and he's understanding, what can I get out of this arrangement? Okay. How can I get rich out of this man? Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form and appearance. I tried to figure out what this meant, but it's elusive. I just think that Rachel was more attractive than her older sister. That's all. I think that's all it means. Now Jacob loved Rachel so that he says, I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to you than that I should give her to another man. Stay with me. Laban, he closed the deal. He closed the deal. I got this young man, he noticed that God's blessings were on him. And this is not the Jacob that was an indoor man. This is Jacob that is an outdoor guy. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her. Yesterday, me and my brothers, we were talking, and we said there's something different about our family now. And one brother brought up, when's the last time we've been to a wedding? And the cultural change, the dynamics, we can't recall when's the last wedding we ever been to. And my oldest brother, being who he is, he's wise, and he says, I have an announcement to make. He says, somebody get married this year. My older brother, he made an edict to have somebody get married this year. Anyway, the wedding rituals back then, the ceremony was different. I understand it took a whole week. Navajo culture were different. You do not meet whoever you're marrying till the day of the wedding, right? We have gotten away from that, and and the Navajo culture, the groom's family, they come from the east. They make a whole convoy, and they have a staging point, and then they come. And it's a whole day affair. It's not just a 2-hour thing. But the Middle Eastern culture, I understand it took a whole week. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her. And Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go into her. Apparently, Jacob stayed faithful during these 7 years, and Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. Now it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to Jacob, and he went into her. How this happened, I have no idea, because I'll just leave it to your imagination. And Laban gave his maid Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. And it came to pass in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I have served you? Why then have you deceived me? The stitches in the arrangements are becoming unraveled here. And Laban said, it must not be done so in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her a week, and we will give you this one also for the service which you will serve with me still another 7 years. Laban is, Jacob has met his match. I understand that these two are
Manipulators.
what's that?
Manipulators.
They're both manipulators. That's right. That's the word. Jacob is manipulating, and Laban is manipulating, and they're both. Later on, Jacob is going to be seen as trying to manipulate God, and he's going to fight with God, and his name is going to be changed to Israel, he who fights with God. So two hard-headed men are going against each other here. Then Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and so he gave him his daughter Rachel as wife also. And Laban gave his maid Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as a maid. Then Jacob also went into Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he served with Laban still another 7 years. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, I understand that the Hebrew language and the English language, they're not really, it's kind of hard to translate. So when Jacob, God loved Jacob, but Esau he hated. It doesn't mean that God sat on his throne and he hated Esau. It just means that Jacob was favored more. So in that sense, Jacob loved Rachel more than he loved Leah. He didn't go out of his way to hate her and make sure that her life was uncomfortable, but it just he loved Rachel. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. So Leah conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Reuben. In the Hebrew language, the name for son is Ben, like Ben Ami, Lo Ami, and Benjamin, and our equivalent is Begay. Navajo equivalent here is just Begay Janiko. The meaning is lost to us, but Beyet Jano Olye Asania. Beyet Jano Olye. So in my mind is weird in this way. Whenever I see the word Ben in the Bible, I'm thinking Begay. So Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben. Look, a son. And she said, the Lord has surely looked on my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. There's a cultural that is foreign to me, where in the culture that I live in, it's foreign to me that a son could be thought of as higher than that of a girl. But apparently that's what's going on. For me, as living in this culture, a baby girl is born, I say, wow, it's precious. Shaman Besnahashneko. Nleda da ilte no. Oh, hast du do sani da honi zanda janin de opa ihon that's a great no. Ja hal netle. Asa ne hote. My mom, I talked to my mom, and she says our history is awful, and the elders, they present themselves as wise, but the things that they did back then, it's just, so that's what we're reading right here. This is in the bigger picture, we are seeing that God is declaring war on Satan. What happened in Genesis chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. God is redeeming, and it seems like he's redeeming on Satan's ground. You go on the offense, and you go to the enemy's territory, you fight him on his own ground. Later on, all these genealogies are going to find its place in Jesus' lineage. Somehow God turns things around. Then she conceived again in verse 33 and bore a son and said, because the Lord has heard that I am unloved, he has therefore given me this son also. So she called his name Simeon. Simone, I think that's a Hebrew word or a pronunciation. Means hated. She conceived again and bore a son and said, now this time my husband will become attached to me because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name was called Levi. Levi, Janiko, attached to no Olgechina. Out of this tribe is going to come the Levitical priesthood. They're going to become attached to God. The yin God hashit ego She conceived again and bore a son and said, now this time my husband will become attached to me because I have borne him 3 sons. Oh, verse 35, and she conceived again and bore a son. Now I will praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name, the Hebrew word is Yehodah. Sounds Japanese. Then she stopped bearing. Navajo in Navajo we love the number 4. It's our number of completion, and we hold it as sacred. So I don't know. My mind is weird in this way. So any comments? Yes. Okay. I'm done. Any comments? Let me finish with Leviticus chapter 18. We saw what Lot and his 2 daughters, what happened in that picture. And I feel so unqualified to say this. At any point, I feel so unqualified, and I am on shaky ground. And polygamy is really never prohibited, but marrying 2 sisters is. So Leviticus chapter 18, verse 18, here's what it says. Nor shall you take a woman as a rival to her sister to uncover her nakedness while the other is alive. And in my own family history, we have that. And and in my own family, we had my grandparents, and even in my in-laws' family, up to right now, we have that right now. And you probably know pictures of that. And so, any comments? This is really not yeah.